Happy Monday, everybody. Happy first day of free agency. Jordan, this was a day I thought there would not be a lot of discussion for the Dolphins, but it does seem like the Dolphins may have broke some of the fan base, broke the internet a little bit, as surprising to some, I'll include myself in it, not to others. The Dolphins have signed Malik Willis. I don't have the numbers in front of me. It is a 3-year deal. Essentially, it's a 2-year deal. I think it
I
roughly
think
comes.
I think the total number was 67.5 million,
Yeah, with like
45
45
guaranteed.
guaranteed. I'll be honest. I did not think we had the money to get Malik Willis, but we signed him. I will be honest. I will hold this up. Everybody knows I am very much ever the optimist. I try to keep everything glass half full. I'm not thrilled about signing the player, but when you look at the deal, it is essentially a 2-year deal. So I'm not going to get too mad because how I look at it, it doesn't really change my mindset. I don't really think it changes the team's mindset either, where Willis is on a prove it deal. A little bit more expensive than I would have liked, but I think it averages out that he's the 21st highest paid quarterback in the NFL. So lower end starters money. If he's bad, it does not change my idea that we are going to go quarterback in 2027. And if he's good, we have a bargain at quarterback. Now, which way we go, I'm not sure, but Jordan, let's hear what are your thoughts on the deal? Because you saw it before I did, which is rarity now.
Yeah, for me, and I've said it a couple times, and I tweeted it too. Really, you have to look at these 3 years like this. I think that this deal shows that Malik Willis is going to be the starter this season, and I think that's fine. I think that those that were like, "Oh, let's tank, let's see Quinn Ewers," we were never going to tank. That's something that Sully and Half made very clear. And also, they made it very clear that Quinn Ewers wasn't somebody they viewed as a starting level quarterback in the NFL right now. So for this upcoming season, Malik Willis is the starter. In 2027, he's either going to be the starter or a high level backup. And when I say high level, I mean highly paid backup. I think that either way, we're still going to be in the market for a 2027 quarterback. I think we're going to analyze the 2027 quarterbacks and make a decision from there. And then in 2028, it looks like from the Sport Track contract that there's about $7 million dead cap in 2028. You save about $21 million cutting him. I think that if he's good, he'll still be on the roster in 2028. If he's not good, then they have a decent out going into that season. So like you said, it's a 2-year deal. And we weren't going to punt the quarterback position this year. There was no way we were going in with Quinn Ewers or even somebody like a Jimmy Garoppolo starting, who I had personally said if we were going to go that route, that was a guy that made sense. And this is not about the 60 whatever, 80 whatever passes that Malik Willis threw last year as a Packer. This is John Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley watched the way Malik Willis worked every day over the last 2 years. And after watching him work and after watching him operate and watching him in the building with guys, they felt like that was a type of personality and person that they wanted on this roster. And that's fine. And I think that the way the contract is structured, if we gave him $100 million over 3 years with 70 plus guaranteed, yeah, we'd be sitting here having a very different conversation. But I think that for the dollars that they spent, and for the familiarity with this coaching staff, I think it's a really good deal. And again, that to me is less about Malik Willis, the player, which we could talk about, and it's more about the structure of the deal, the nature of the deal in this league, and the position that the Dolphins are in and what they have on the roster.
Yep. No, I did pull up the deal. The first one that came up was Tom Pelissaro. So, like I said, it can get up it can get up to $67.5 million, $22.5 million signing bonus. 2026, he is only making $1.25 million. That's fully guaranteed. 2027, it goes up to $21.5 million guaranteed, and then that's all that's guaranteed. If he's on the roster March of 2028, $2 million roster bonus, $20.5 million would be his salary in 2028 if he is on the roster for the season.
And Brett, I'll tell you, when me and Kevin did our breakdown, we went through and did the whole mock offseason. Kevin and I spent a bit of time talking about Malik Willis and talking about this exact situation. And we both felt that signing him to essentially a 2-year deal, I think the deal we got on Stick to the Model when we did the offseason, I think we signed him to like a 2-year, $38 million deal or something, which, look, it's essentially – what, 2 years, $45 million with that last year as an option. So it's pretty close. And to me, it's something that when that opportunity presents itself at that dollar figure, you have to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah. And I am not going to be a hypocrite. I'm like flat out. I have told Mr. S many times, anytime he and I talked about it, I didn't want Malik Willis. I would not have signed him. I will say right now, I would still say I would have prefer to have gone into the season with Quinn Ewers as the starter to Malik Willis. But when you see what the rumored amounts he was going to get was, it is less than he was expected to get. I've heard some people say that he actually took less money and less years to come to the Dolphins. I don't know if that's true, but I've seen that a little bit online. If this is a 4-year deal, yes, this is a completely different discussion because you're not doing a 2-year deal. Like, then that essentially becomes a 3-year deal. You have a really expensive backup, and it's not apples to apples, it's apples to oranges, but it basically gets you in a similar situation that we just got out of with Tua, just at a smaller scale, where you have a lot of money locked into a guy you don't want on the roster. If you get to 4 years, even yes, it's a little shorter, but like I said, this doesn't change the mindset. And I don't think Willis is the type of guy, because I've talked to some people and they're like, well, what if he's just mediocre and we miss out on a quarterback in 2027?
We're not.
Malik Willis is not the type of quarterback that is going to be mediocre. He is either going to be what people have been hyping him up to be with his minimum experience, but looking good in Green Bay, and he is going to prove to be a bargain, at which point you are giving him a new deal in 2 years.
Hey, Brett, we have breaking news per Tom Pelissero. Are you ready?
Sure.
Tua Tagovailoa has signed a deal with the Atlanta Falcons.
That was coming. We will get into that in a second. I believe everybody basically said a couple earlier today that he was going to the Falcons. But to finish what I was saying on Willis is, he's either going to be what you think from a small sample size in Green Bay, or he's going to be the guy that looked in over his head in Tennessee, no in between. So you're either getting a cheap franchise quarterback relative terms and extending him, or you're still getting a quarterback next year. So while I wouldn't have done the deal because I just don't like taking a risk, I get it, and it's a commitment, but it's not, if that makes sense. It's such a short deal in the grand scheme of things. If he's bad this year, you're still getting a quarterback, and he's gone. He might start one more year.
The way you said it, it can be good and bad at the same time. Like it not everything. I feel like we get so caught up with everything is either one way or the other. No, this is somewhere in the middle. And Brett, as you and I have talked about, even in a bad season, you need somebody at the quarterback position that allows you to evaluate the rest of your roster. You need somebody at the quarterback position that allows you to evaluate the offensive line, the receivers, the tight ends, and even evaluate the defense, because you need a guy that's going to control the ball a little bit, and you can't run into like a Nathan Peterman situation. Now, I don't think Quinn Ewers is that bad, but I also don't think that you can sit here and anybody can really say that dollar for dollar, $1 for $1, as my lights go off again, that Quinn Ewers puts us in a better position to win than Malik Willis. Now, if you want to get into the ethical, are we trying to win? Are we not trying to win? That doesn't matter to me. And even in limited snaps, Malik Willis gives us a more mobile option, a more veteran option, and a guy that already knows some of the pieces that are in our building, and somebody that they feel comfortable bringing his mentality into the Miami Dolphins organization, whether for a long time or even just for 2 seasons.
Yeah. And this is just normal from regime changes. You see people bring their guys in all the time. I just don't think anybody thought we'd have the money to do it. And it's helped by the fact that Malik Willis agreed to be paid. I hate to say it this way because it sounds insulting, but pennies on the dollars year one. So that does help. But yeah, I'm not going to tell people to be excited. I'm not going to tell people not to hate the move, but I will say this: if you trust John Eric Sullivan, I do not think this move changes it. It just gives people a more flashy name at minimum than going into the Quinn Ewers. And you and I kind of discussed this before. Fernando Mendoza is going number 1. I don't really see quarterbacks that excite me in this year's draft. So there are names that, okay, you can develop. Like, would it be nice to develop a Drew Aller, Garrett Nussmeier, or someone like that in the middle rounds? I guess, but it doesn't really – I don't really think that adds competition to the room. I think that just is – you just go back to the conversation we had in 2019 where people were outwardly complaining that the Dolphins were intentionally tanking and should be punished. Although I do think that Quinn Ewers showed enough where I think he could have been a competent starter, or you could at least hope he could be a competent starter. But I just don't think this deal is worth getting upset about or turning on Sully and Hafley just yet. And they've come out and said what Barry Jackson had an article that said Dolphins offense is going to have the same principles. We kind of knew this with Bobby Sloak as offensive coordinator. There's not going to be as many motions, and they want to commit to the run. They want to run, and run more. And when you stop the run, fuck you, we're going to keep running. And I do think Malik Willis does help that mindset a little bit. So I get it from that sense.
Brett, I'm going to give you 4 numbers, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A couple seasons ago, Geno Smith signed a deal with Seattle for 3 years, $105 million. Last year, Sam Darnold signed a deal with Seattle, 3 years, $100 million. Last year, Kirk Cousins signed a deal with the Falcons, 4 years, $180 million. And Daniel Jones signed a 1-year, $15 million deal with Indy that has now turned into a 1-year, $37 million transition tag. I would argue that getting Malik Willis for $30 million, essentially less than Geno Smith, or $40 million less than Geno Smith, for $110 million less than Kirk Cousins, even spread out over the deal. I mean, that's right where it should be. It is, to me, it's a fair market value. And if you think that there's a chance that this guy is a quarterback that can be on your roster, that's the guy I want on my team. And you can't say we're going to keep taking swings at quarterback and take a swing at a quarterback and take a swing at a quarterback and take a swing at a quarterback and then get upset the first time we do it. Yeah. I mean, Malik Willis is 26 years old. It's not like we just signed a 31-year-old that hasn't had a lot of success and hoping that at the end of his career, he's able to do something.
Yeah. Ozzy, to your point, I would say it's split. I think the thing I've noticed is a lot of people are mad because Hafley said we don't have the salary cap to make splash moves. And they're like, well, they come out and make a splash move because a lot of people had Malik Willis based off of the hype he had from last year as the number 1 free agent in the class. When you look at the deal, it's not really a splash move. It's a calculated gamble, whether you like the idea or not. It's not a commitment. It's a prove-it deal. He is just guaranteed to be our starter for 2026. And hey, I think Matt Flynn signed for more than that when he signed with Seattle, and he never started a game for Seattle. Russell Wilson beat him out. So this isn't a competition, but but at the same time, if Ewers is the better quarterback, it is not a salary that prevents Ewers from starting next year.
Brett, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If we would have signed Malik Willis to a 2-year, $30 million contract, fully guaranteed, do you think that the fan base would think differently right now?
I think there would be. We're basically paying $15 million more, like for all intents and purposes. Even though it's a 3-year deal, it's basically it's a 2-year deal, but just $15 million more than you're giving me. I think a lot of people would find that a little easier to stomach because it's only because set in stone, it's a 2-year deal. This is kind of what I was saying, Ozzy. He is the starter, but it's again one of those deals where it's low end. Like I hate to say it, it's low end starter money. He comes in as the 21st highest paid quarterback in the league. It's low end starter money.
And I'm sorry, but to Ozzy, I truly believe that if Quinn Ewers comes in and is just out of this world and is better than Malik Willis and looks better than Malik Willis in camp, in meeting rooms, in preseason, to me, until they say differently, I think Quinn Ewers would start in that situation. I just don't personally think that Quinn Ewers is better than Malik Willis.
I don't know if you and I discussed this, but I do think just from listening to Sully's interviews since he got hired, I never got the impression he was overly high on Quinn Ewers.
No.
Like we are. And that's not me turning on Quinn Ewers because, like I said, I would have preferred to have Quinn be the front runner for the job. But I think it was very clear to me that they were not as high on Quinn as the fans were, seemingly. But yeah, I think you'll see us get a couple other cheap vets to kind of help with the culture. But the one positive I will say is this to me means we're focusing on the trenches in the draft. I think that's the big
for
thing.
Sure. Absolutely. We're gonna build a team this season that is suitable for whatever quarterback we add to the room in 2027.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wish I could say more about the deal, guys. We're just talking. I'm just kind of giving a baseline. Yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, okay, we signed Malik Willis. Jordan, it's rare, but I think Jordan's definitely the more optimistic between us. I'm not even being pessimistic. I'm kind of like, yeah, okay. The other news that came out was we traded Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Jets for a 7th round pick. Jets are taking on all the money. They extended them already. Could you have gotten more for Minkah? Maybe. The market's the market. I don't know what was there. But this is one of those things where it's like we knew Minkah was not going to be on the team. So, yeah. Hate that you got traded to the Jets, but it's like, yeah, okay. It's like, yeah, well, we knew we were going to get rid of him. We're going to rebuild the rest of the roster. What are your thoughts on the Minkah move?
I think that we were going to make a move anyways. And I think that, like you and I talk about all the time, if there was a team out there that was willing to give us a 5th and take Minkah's deal, Sully wasn't going to be like, oh, hey, let me go ahead and take this 7th round pick instead of the 5th. No, that was clearly for what we're trying to do from a cap perspective. That was the best deal that was offered to us. And I don't care what team it is, Minkah's going to go there. So I wish him nothing but the worst playing with the Jets now. But I think that was just a deal that had to be done. It obviously there wasn't anybody out there that was offering more and going to take on his salary. And it was kind of just something we had to eat and move on with.
Yep. We were just going to get to this. Tua to Atlanta official 1-year deal. Jordan, you mentioned that earlier in the stream. Good luck to Tua. No ill will towards him. This season was the first year where I ever felt like I got, and I hate to say it this way, but I do feel I got this way. I got toxic towards him, where I think I had a lot of negative feeling because of his play, because of what I perceived is a bad attitude, though I do think some comments from Jeff Darlington when he was on the Joe Rose show a week or two ago showed that the negative attitude may have actually been an issue internally. I think Atlanta's a good fit. You got Drake London, you got Bijan Robinson, you got Kyle Pitts developing. You got a good offensive line, and Stefanski runs a very similar system to Mike McDaniel. I don't think it's as timing based as McDaniel's is. So there is that question. I don't know if you saw Warren Sharp had a good article where he talked about the biggest issue Tua had was this year he had more time than he really ever did, and the throws weren't as quick. So that leads up questions to if he wasn't trusting himself or what was going on. But Atlanta's going to want to run. It's going to be based around the run. So this will really be the first time in Tua's career he's not asked to be the hero. And let's be honest, Jordan, whether you like Tua or not, even under Flores, who didn't like Tua, he was asked to be the guy, no matter the situation. So it's good. I have seen the memes, and I'll admit I laughed, where it's basically like you're replacing an often injured left-handed quarterback with another often injured left-handed quarterback. And until Tua changes the narrative, that is still going to be there. Wish him well. Jordan and I have both said this a lot. It was time both for the fan base and for Tua and for the organization. It was time for a change. Will he beat out Penix? Probably. I don't think it's that far-fetched or outlandish to say, no matter what you think of Tua, he is a better quarterback than Michael Penix.
And Penix had an injury towards the end of the season too, didn't he?
Yeah, torn ACL, I believe. But I'll also be honest, I'm just ready. The Band-Aid's been ripped off now. Tua's gone. I'm ready to be done talking about Tua, and it has nothing personal to do with Tua. I'm just ready for the next discussion with Dolphins quarterbacks. And right now that is Malik Willis. And I have a feeling that's going to be a very divisive, well, it will be very divisive until Malik Willis either proves his haters wrong or the supporters right, or he proves the haters right or the supporters right. But yeah, but my stance, even for Tua, good luck. You're out of my thoughts now. That's harsh to say, but it's the truth. And with Willis, I'll be honest, you're on a 1-year audition for me, and to see if we're getting a top quarterback next year or not in the draft. That's just how I'm approaching it.
Yeah, and I think as for the Tua situation, I do think there's a good chance he beats out Penix and ends up as the starter in Atlanta, and good for him finding a place that he can start or at least compete in a full lefty offense. And as for the Dolphins, like I don't see any situation, even one where Malik Willis is good, where we're not at least evaluating the 2027 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like, again, even if Malik Willis is good. So I think that this is
not to interrupt you, Jordan, but that just made me think. Our GM comes from an organization that sat Aaron Rodgers for 2 years after taking him in the first round because he had Brett Favre, and then did the same thing where Jordan Love was Jordan Love 3 years.
Jordan Love might have been 3.
Yeah. So even if Willis is good, it doesn't take us out of taking a quarterback, because Sully comes from an organization that had quarterbacks that were better than Malik Willis at the same point in their career and still took first-round quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it just does not change. In short, Willis does not change the dynamic for the team, in my opinion. And Tua, good luck. That's really all I can say.
Very well said, Brett.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to bring up, because I know this was going to be a shorter one. We just wanted to talk about the Willis news. Shout out to Carolina for massively overpaying Jalen Phillips. Like, I know he's popular, and I don't hate the guy, but man, you don't give that contract to an edge rusher who has not proven himself to be a number one edge rusher. But man, hats off.
Yeah. They did it with Robert Hunt, which it was a better deal than this one, but that Phillips got a lot of money.
Yeah. Before we go, because like I said, this is going to be short. Some other rumors that have been going on, just want to touch about. Dolphins have reportedly had conversations with Kendrick Bourne, wide receiver. I believe he was San Francisco last year. He's been around.
Yeah, I think
I
Dobbs
don't
is going to
think
be
we
a
can
little bit
afford
out of
him.
our price range. Bourne is more of a guy that makes sense in kind of that what we thought Westbrook Akina was going to be.
Yeah, so I think we could look at Bourne. I think if we can afford Bourne, we'd go out there. Quay Walker's out there. I don't think we can afford him, but cool. And Elgin Jenkins just got released by the Packers. I would be shocked if he's not a Dolphin. And
Yeah, I think that's the that little James Daniels savings money is going to be going to Elgin Jenkins.
Yeah, and Larry Borum also signed with Detroit. Hats off to him. I know a lot of people hated the signing for us. I think he did better than anybody expected with the Dolphins last year in relief. But that just shows you. I haven't seen the figures yet, but there's really a shortage of quality on NFL offensive linemen. So you're just gonna constantly see offensive linemen in the NFL overpaid year in and year out.
Yeah, offensive linemen and edge rushers are going to be very, very highly sought after.
Yep. So after today, I do think you're going to probably see us focus on offensive line in the draft early. Honestly, the Penn State offensive guard might be the guy at 11 now. You're going to see us changing people, but I think he makes a lot of sense now. But yeah, if you wanted to, Malik Willis, I'll just say, I know ESPN gave us an A. I'll say A for not committing a lot of money, C because I don't know about the players. So I'll say a B- deal. I think that's fair.
I'll go B+ just because we didn't spend $100 million on a starting quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's going to be it for the day. A little shorter. I wish we could go into more. I just don't really feel strongly enough for Malik, but I will be back later this week to talk a little bit more about free agency if there's any moves. Spoiler, I don't think we're going to have many other moves we're talking about. Yeah, but we can probably do another draft later this week and kind of see how that goes. Shout out to Skip the Mock or Stick to the Model. His mock draft simulator still a lot of fun to use. Definitely like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Please share this video. It does help our algorithm. But we will the offseason started on a busier and more buzzworthy note than any of us expected. So the roller coaster ride begins. And
it begins.
We will be back later this week to talk with you guys about a little bit more.
Thanks for joining, guys.